Hi everyone. I think this is getting to be about lesson 39. If we were doing half-hour lessons once a week, 39 is the end of my school year, starting in September and ending in June. I don't think we're quite there yet, but you are getting on. You're getting closer to a year. It might be getting to be a stretch to be calling you a beginner guitarist in many ways right now, although, as I've mentioned, you're probably going to feel like a beginner for many years. One of the problems with studying guitar is you're sort of always a beginner. Whenever you feel like you've learned something, that just opens a door to 10 more things that you don't know. It's like you're always at the bottom of a hill looking up, especially if you have a teacher who shows up every week, checks out what you know, and immediately adds something more to it. Or if you're hunting around YouTube looking for things to play and realizing there's just a universe of guitar music out there and you haven't even started to scratch the surface. It can be very discouraging at times looking up that mountain, so you got to turn around every now and then and look back and see how far you've come. This could be one of those moments as you look back at the chords you know. Here's your primary chord chart. Just getting started here again. We have our C, F, G, which we just filled in recently, and we saw how we could bring that fifth chord to a new key and start the new key on G, moving the 1 to the 4. So these keys are related. They share two primary chords. And the key of G would have G, Cs, and Ds or D7s. One of the things that we would do in private lessons fairly early on is start to explore the 12-bar blues. We haven't had a chance here to do this very much, and especially because I'm online and even in virtual lessons, it's very hard to jam. So it's hard to get a scale going and to exchange solos and improvisations with students. So sometimes this doesn't come up as quickly as it used to. But the 12-bar formula for the blues, the very standard formula, is a great way to work on those primary chords that you've been learning. You have a 1 chord, a 4 chord, and a 5 chord. That's the basic skeletal outline of the 12-bar blues. We get 4 bars of the 1 chord. So 4 beats, 4 beats, 4 beats, and 4 beats. Most of your music is divided into these subsections of 4s. The next 4 are divided in half. A couple of 4 chords. That's the subdominant chord, that's the F chord in the key of C, back to the 1, the tonic chord, the 1 chord in C. We've been speeding up. We had 4 bars of 1s, 2 of 4s, and 2 of 1s. Now you see we get really moving here. A bar of the 5 chord, the dominant, a bar of the 4 chord, the subdominant, a bar of the tonic, and sometimes we'll hit the 5 chord here as a turnaround to get back up. Right now I'm going to leave it as a 1 chord, because that's the way we saw it on page 22 in blues bass. In blues bass, we were in the key of A. So A was the 1 chord. You play that for 4 bars. A, B, C, D is the 4 chord, which you do for 2 bars. Back to A. A, B, C, D, E was the 5 we did for 1 bar. Then the D, then the A. In the key of C, we would do Cs for this line, Fs, then Cs, G, G7 if you like, F, and C's. In the key of G, G is the 1, so G gets the first line. C starts off this line, then back to G, then D or D7, C, and C7's an option here too. As we saw in blues bass, this chord can have a 7 on it, and then the G chord. If we had been working on our solos in the pentatonic scales already, I could play this as a background for you and you'd solo over it. Right now I just want to paste in the chords. Let's go maybe 3 times through each key. So here's the key of C, where C is the 1 chord. We'll go slow and I'll just play your basic chords. So we're not going to make this overly bluesy. It's not going to be 100% authentic yet. But let's have a look at it. 1, 2, 3, C, second bar. 4th bar, now we're on S. So what you see there that I didn't mention is the 12-bar pattern you're playing repeats over and over again. It's the form of the song, it's not the entire song. So you just keep doing this pattern. In the key of G then, we'll put G's here. There's something called the quick change. Sometimes they will put the 4 chord in here for 1 bar. It's almost like a microcosm of the song. We get 1 bar of the 1 chord, a bar of the 4, and then finish off with 1s. Then we're on the 4s here, finish off with 1s. So here I'll go G's, C's, and G's. So we'll play, let's try three times through in G. I'm going to use D7s now instead of Ds. And C here in bar 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. To the C chord. Back to G. To the C on the next line. Back to the G. D7. C. G. Back to the top. You're going to start hearing music in groups of 4. You'll hear that 4 bars is over and we're in another set. The bottom line, the turn around. Back to the top one more time. Quick change to C. Back to G. C. And G. D7. C. And G. We want our next key, that would be on the key of the 5th from here. So we go D, G is the 4 chord, A is the 5. In the blues, we can make the 4s and the 5s into dominant 7s. To get this a little busier yet, I'm going to substitute a 5 in the last bar here. So that'll be an A7. That A7 will just give us more urgency. Back to this D at the top. Also after that, I can go to a D to end. So when I finish this song, after we've gone through 3 times, I'll hit that last A7 and land on a D. So let's try that now in D. So D and G. Down here I'll use a G7. 1, 2, 3, 4. D7. You might recognize that sound. So I've run out of room on my chart. I'm going to start it over. A is the 5th chord here, so that's the key I want next. A would be your 1 chord, D will be your 4, and E or E7 will be your 5. The key of A is super popular for all kinds of blues in all kinds of genres, country, rock, and straight blues. I'm taking out my quick changes here for the song I want to show you here. A continues for this entire line, the 4 and the 1, the 5 and A here. The E, the 5 chord, doesn't change to the 4 here, nor does it make its appearance down at the bottom. The other change I want to make right now is I've been playing a shuffle rhythm. That's based on a swing eighth note. Instead of even eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, the swing eighth has the 2 eighths staggered. The first one in every pair is longer than the second. It's actually based on a triplet form, so you get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. There's your triplet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Those are swing or shuffle eighths. That's what I've been playing so far. A very, very common rhythm for blues, country, any kind of swing music. In this one, I want to play straight. These are going to be A chords. 1 and 2 and 3, straight eighths. I'm going to be alternating that chord in a power chord format. You can continue to play regular A's, but I'm going to play, keep your hands to yourself with those chords. 1 and 2, 3, 4. One more bar of A, D, back to A, down to E's, back to A's, back to the top. D's, A's, E's, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, back to the top. D's on line 2. E on the bottom. A. Our next key would be E. E is the 5 here, so it becomes the 1, A becomes the 4, and B becomes the 5. You don't know a B7 yet, so I'll show you that, and that'll be our wrap for today. I hated B7s for years. I wouldn't do the songs with them. I could not figure out how to get to them quickly or smoothly. They need a 2nd fret note on the 1st string, on the 3rd, on the 5th, and then a 4th string 1st fret note. I couldn't visualize it and I couldn't make it quickly. Now I look at 2 different things in this. I see this line up. These 3 fingers are all apart by 1 string, lined up in the 2nd fret. This finger completes a triangle where the 5th string is a 2, 4th string a 1, 3rd string a 2. So I can have this line and the triangle in here, or the triangle with a pinky. That may not be a ton of help yet. The way I really like to work on it, and when I discovered I enjoyed the chord, was when I did this. It always comes from E chords. So I've got an E chord, my middle finger stays where it is. My ring finger goes to the 3rd string. My pointer comes from the 3rd string to the 4th. So those 2 fingers switch strings with each other. I've got 2, 2, and a 1 in E. Then I go 2, 1, and 2 in B7 and add the pinky. That's how I practice this. E, B7, E, B7. Notice I'm exaggerating my hand turn, because it's the hand turn that gets all those notes into place. That's again one of those morphing chords. Rather than going, I'm on an E, now what? How do I make a B7? I roll it, pushing the pointer up a string and pulling the ring finger down a string, and I add the pinky. There those 2 chords are with fingers numbered. Whenever I number the fingers, you know that I'm trying to draw attention to anchors and to little shifts. So there you see in the E, I got a 2 on the 5th string. It remains there in the B7. What happens are the 1 and 3 trade strings with each other. You can practice doing that and adding the pinky. A blues is a great way to work on that. Perhaps it takes too long to get to the B7 though. you're going through all 12 bars and you maybe only get one B7 the whole time. So work on them separately first. Get comfortable with B7s, following E's in repetition, and then you can work on them in these songs as well. For this very popular blues key, I'm going to put the A back in here so you get a little bit more activity in your chord changes. I'm going to stick on that B7 for a bit so you can sit there and practice your fingers on that, and even throw another one in here. If you've never done it before and you want to try now, I guess I'd better go fairly slowly. So let's try this out with a slower shuffle beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and A. Back to E. I'll put a 7 on there. Back to A7. Just to make use of it, let's stay on it. And E to another B7. E. Sorry, that's pretty loud. Catch you guys later. Have a good one.